Welcome, welcome once again to Words Have Power. This is Teresa Hawley-Howard. This September summit has been so amazing, and tonight is no different. We have another amazing, empowering, inspiring woman who's going to talk to you about that thing you don't want to talk about, your finances. Welcome to the show, and tell us all about yourself. I cannot wait to have this conversation.
Okay, so first I just want to thank you for the opportunity for me to be a part of the summit. It's very exciting to be able to see, the different women that has been on speaking about the different topics. I am Jessica Bellard, and I am a financial, I guess I like to call myself the financial GOAT. And I am the owner of SB Tax and Financial here in Atlanta, Georgia. And I am a widowed mom of 5 that I homeschool. And I'm originally from Louisiana, but now I reside here in Atlanta. And I love everything numbers. I love everything finance. I try to dip into various areas so that I'm well versed in the financial industry. So that's me.
I'm so glad that you're on here because a lot of women do not like to have this conversation, but it is a necessary conversation, not only as an entrepreneur, but as a mother, as the person who handles the finances for a home, as we're teaching and rearing our children to do their own finances. I remember when my sister and I were young, we never talked, my mom didn't talk about finances. We had no idea. We were so broke. We had no idea. My mom didn't talk to us about those things. We didn't learn about those. When my sister got her first checking account, she said, Teresa, there's a problem at the bank. I was like, what's the matter? What happened? Your check didn't post? She's like, no, they told me I have no money, but I still have these checks. We had no concept of what was going on, And so I think it's important that we have these conversations, that instead of being always a consumer, that we become an investor, that we really learn where our money is and how it can work for us instead of we're always working for our money.
Right.
Can you tell us some tips as a woman starts her business? And one thing is that, as an entrepreneur, you have tax breaks. And I think some women don't even take advantage of those things. They don't understand how being in business for yourself can be so much better than having a 9-to-5. Even if it's just a side business, a small thing that you do while you're still working your 9-to-5 as you grow it. Can you tell us some of the tax advantages of being an entrepreneur?
Well, for entrepreneurs, there's a lot of tax advantages. And that's why it's so important for us to keep up and stay organized in our business when it relates to our finances, and have some type of an app or anything that you can use that you can kind of like just keep up with what's going on in your business. I know, some people, they have to travel for their business. You want to keep up with your mileage because you get a tax break for that. You want to keep up with things that you're buying in the business. You want to keep up with the money that's being made in the business, as well as the money that's going out of the business. Be it if you're advertising, if you're, marketing a product that you may have, just anything that you're doing in that business, because at the end of the year, you want to be able to not only have an average of what you brought into the business, but you want to know what went out of the business, because there's areas that you can redeem some of this money back by having some of these tax breaks. So organization is very vital for a business owner. Just being able to keep up with what's going in and what's coming out, with your mileage, with some businesses, they give out gifts. I know, like for myself in my tax business, we give out vacation vouchers, we give out all kind of different things throughout the year. But if you're not keeping up with that, then you have no adequate record at the end of the year of what's being spent in order to get some of these tax breaks back in. Another awesome tax break is being able to hire your children as an entrepreneur, being able to have your kids work in the business with you and being able to take up to $12,000 of a tax break. So that's one of the big changes that I think was put in place. I'm thinking last year that changed. So if your children are doing, like I know for myself, I get help from my kids with marketing, graphic work by AJ, passing out flyers, cleaning up the office, any of those things, that you can account for that you're paying your kids for. You get tax breaks for those things. So that's one of the big. So if you have kids and you're in business, you might want to think about hiring them into the business and making sure you do it the right way, like as if you were hiring another adult to work in your business. So that's one of the big things. Of course, mileage is another big one. If you're traveling a lot, or if you're delivering your packages, or I know some entrepreneurs, they have like trucking services, and different things like that where they're using their vehicle. So those are just a few of the things that you can kind of take advantage of as a business owner when it comes to finances. So
I think it's really important that you talk to someone who is a professional, because you're probably missing out on a lot doing your taxes yourself. And you may even be doing some illegal things that you don't realize are not legal, and you will get caught by the IRS. So I think it's important that you seek out professional help in that aspect. I had no idea you could hire your children. My grandkids lived here. I missed out on that because I used them all the time, and they definitely came out of my pocket all the time. And so I missed that tax break. But I think that that's very important for you to be financially savvy. And if you don't know what's coming in and what's going out, you don't really know if you're profitable. You don't really know if it's worth your time. How many hours are you putting in? How much, income do you have, and how much of that is profit? And so you have to know what's coming in and what's going out. Another thing I know that you do is multiple streams of income. And a lot of women do not understand the value of multiple streams of income.
Right. So, if you look at some of the billionaires and millionaires, they show you that they're not just getting money one way. Most have at least seven streams of income. And I think a lot of times we get confused as to what that actually means, and we want to start 7 businesses thinking, okay, 7 streams of income. And that's not necessarily the case. You can have one business and pull 3 streams of income out of that one business. Mm-hmm. So those are the kind of things that I'm trying to help women with right now, is to understand that when I say multiple streams, I'm not talking about multiple businesses. I'm talking about, can we sit down and discuss how many sources of income you can pull out of that one or that 2 businesses that you're trying to operate? Because a lot of times within that one business, you may have 3 or 4, sometimes even 5 sources of income in that one business that you're operating. So it's not a smart idea to look at it like, okay, I need 7 businesses. No, you need 7 streams, but you may have 5 streams in that one source. So, and that's another, you need to sit down with someone and, let them know what you have on, and then kind of talk about it and see, like, how many income streams am I pulling out all my income streams? Because a lot of times we're leaving money on the table. Even in building businesses, we're leaving money on the table that we could have actually, connected something to it and made another stream or another source of income off of it. So, I just don't want anyone to get confused as we talk. As we talk about 7 streams and I post about it daily, just understand what that means. Not 7 businesses, but streams. And sometimes we need somebody else to hear what we have going on so that they can kind of work with us and say, hey, have you ever thought about pulling this out, of your business, or having this in your business? That'll give you another stream of income. So not 7 jobs, but 7 streams. And you may need to talk with someone that can walk you through the process of what we actually mean.
I think that's so true because, you know, when I started mine, I had one stream I published. That was it. And then I started speaking, so that was another one. And then I had my own book. And then I realized that I was leaving marketing on the table. And marketing was a very cornerstone piece because once I published them, I was outsourcing that. I was sending them, you know, connecting them with someone else to offer that. When I was perfectly capable of doing it myself. I had the resources. I just was not implementing that as a part of my business strategy. And so it took someone from the outside saying, okay, you already have A, B, and C. Why are you not offering a full service package for your client? Instead of letting someone else come in, you've already published, you've already marketed, you've already created for them, and let someone else come in and take that, you know, stream away from you, because that is a stream that replenishes. They need marketing every month. They may only publish once a year or one time only. They need marketing monthly. And so that's one thing that we need to understand, that sometimes a second set of eyes on your business can really open up doors that you didn't even consider, that are super easy for you to add that next stream of income, that are really not doing any more than you are now, just tweaking it a little so that you have an extra income, so that you have, you know, more services to offer, because you're already doing it anyway, and you may not just realize that. And so I think that it's very important.
I know for myself, you know, like prior to me meeting you, I was already, you know, traveling, speaking as a speaker and, you know, doing things like that. But then as I was watching you and you started talking about books, you know, writing your own book, you know, it just kind of like ding dong in my head, like, wait a minute, you know, you're traveling, you're going to all these speaking events, but you don't have anything to give them, you know. And then I was like, you know, okay, so I need to get into, you know, having something, a book, a workbook, or something that I can have with me when I'm speaking. And that created me another source of income through, you know, just being able to, with you all, you know, and writing and getting on some of the projects and things that you had, you know, it just opened up more opportunity for me, you know, for another stream of income. So you're right, you know, absolutely. Like sometimes it takes somebody else to kind of say something, and then you're like, wait a minute, you know, I can add that to my business. That's another stream. I don't need to start another business, but I can put this as another stream in my business.
I think that's so true. And we're so quick to jump on the bandwagon. Oh, it's only $99 to start this business or do that. And we don't really see if that business is going to fit into what we're already doing, if it's going to add value to what we're already doing, or if it's going to be like a whole nother tandem way over here out in left field that's not going to fit our brand that we already have. And so we have to make sure that when we're adding these other streams of income, that they fit into our realm. You know, like, I'll be honest with you, I'm not ever going to do health and wellness because it takes all I got to get my butt up to walk to the gym. I'm just going to let you know. It takes all I got to push myself. So I'm not going to be the person to push you to be healthy. I'm probably going to need you to drag me. So you're not going to see me shouting out the newest drink, the newest still. I tried keto diet. It was not for me. But, you know, that's not going to be my expertise. That's not where I'm going to be for you. I'm not going to be your health guru.
Right.
I tell you how to write your story. I can tell you how to market your story. I can tell you how to sell it from the stage. That's my expertise. But I know that I need health. So I might buy products from one of my sisters who sell it, or who that is her niche, and I'll take advice from her. But you're not going to see me joining her. You know, I may buy products and use them, but I'm not going to be the wholesaler pushing them to you. It's not my thing. I do have a store on eBay. I do drop ship thanks to you, but you're not going to see that advertised on my Facebook either. That's another source that's separate from my Facebook that I do separately, because it's easy for me to do, and it was easy for me to implement my mom to make money from, because I set it all up and then she mails out. So it was a great, you know, way for her to make some money and for me to make some money too. But, you're not going to see, I'm not going to teach you to drop shift because it was hard enough for me to learn myself. So if they want to do that, they're going to need to connect with you. But it was a great source of income, but it wasn't something that I had to add to my brand. You know, you're not going to see WOM, drop shipping, United out there. It's not going to happen. But it was another source of income for me that was quick, easy. You know, I post them up on there. My mom checks them because I taught her how. And so, you know, it was a quick and easy business for us to get in. My mother's retired. She needed extra income. And so it was a quick and easy business for us to get in. Jewelry was my love. It's kind of my love language. And so my mother sells jewelry. And so that was a quick and easy thing for me to partner with her and do some events and wear her jewelry and do things like that. But you're not going to see me. I'm not going to do live shows. You know, it's not going to happen unless I'm helping her. But because I just don't have time for that. But I applaud y'all who do, because Lord knows I love watching y'all on Facebook when I don't have nothing else to do. When I'm having a writer's block, I get on there and watch y'all's, and I'll usually buy from y'all. So, but I think you have to be sure that the stream that you choose, that it fits you, and that you're just not following someone else's, you know, oh, you see in January, you see so-and-so making money, so you join. In February, you see so-and-so. Because that money that you're spending to join those things that are not your passion or not your heart, you know, not where you really are centered at, you could be using that money to market where you already are, to put together a project or a product that you could sell from where you are.
Right, and I see, you know, I think, you know, we have to realize what our purpose is and our passion, because everything, you know, when it's out there, it looks shiny, like, oh, you know, this one's making money with it, I think I can do it, you know. That's not how, you know, we're supposed to do. You know, like, because I know for me, I was in travel for a while, and when I went back to my original love, which is finances, I realized I don't have time to book trips for people. I don't have time to, you know, like, look all this stuff up. And sometimes you know, I was looking things up, and by the time I find everything, you know, they don't even want to pay the price for it. So I had to quickly realize that, you know, although I love to travel, you know, I'm not supposed to be booking these trips, you know. So that was one thing that I realized that I had to let go of, because, you know, it didn't serve me. It did not serve my purpose of what I was really called by God to do. So I had to go back, you know. And sometimes we have to do that as business owners, as entrepreneurs, and evaluate, you know, where we are, what, you know, like what place we're at in our life and what God wants us to do. So, you know, and sometimes it's not that thing that you're doing, it's just that thing is a distraction, because it was a shiny object out there. Somebody else was doing it, they were making money with it, and you thought you could make just as much money as they were making with it. And that's not the case. If we would have used that same energy, invested it back into what our purpose and our passion was, you know, we could have made a lot more money instead of wasting money and wasting time. So, you know, that was one of my things for me. And I think we all kind of go through that trial and error of trying to figure out, you know, what we really supposed to be doing, what we really have a passion for. So we start, oh, so-and-so's doing well, I'm going to take this, I'm going to take that. But, you know, if that's not really where you're called to be, your area, you're not going to, you're not going to succeed as much as you could have succeeded in something that you were called to do.
I think that's so true. I know I tried the travel thing too. I'll just be honest, because I thought, oh, I want to speak, I want to travel. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I want to speak and travel, but I want somebody else to pay for it. So I really didn't need travel, because I wanted, you know, to travel, but I wanted to travel on somebody else's time. And so, you know, I wanted to go to events, but I wanted to be the featured speaker there. I wanted it to be in my budget when I negotiated. So, and I was like, oh, I'm going to join my friend. She's in travel. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I had these great plans. I had a logo made up. Girl, I was ready until I had to book somebody's travel. And I'll be honest with you, my first client was my sister. And 3 months of booking her travel broke me from sucking eggs. I was like, nope, this is not for me. I'm not meant to book travel. Because she changed her mind. I'd have to look something else up. She don't want to do that. That's too expensive. Can I find it cheaper? And I was like, look, this is 6 months of my life. And I am tired of booking your travel. I don't have time. It's not where my energy is. And the payoff, the return on my investment is not there for me. And I have friends who are making booze in travel. Don't get me wrong. I see them. They're showing me their paychecks for me to join with them. But that's just not where my heart is. That's not, what I want to do with my life. My goal is to help you find your voice, share your story, write your book, publish and promote it. Or just promote your business to get you on platforms in front of women so that, we can share our gifts with one another. That's where I'm meant to be, to create programs like this one, like my magazines, to really promote women and to help us globally connect. And that's where my heart is. And so that's where I needed to be, because all that time that I took learning to book travel, because let me tell you, it was a process, learning to book travel. I mean, I did not enjoy it. And I think if you don't enjoy something, it's not where you're supposed to be.
Right.
I worked a lot of jobs before I came to my calling. Trust me, I worked in nursing homes. I worked for lawyers. I worked at the state hospital. I waited tables for 20 years. I worked a lot of jobs. None of them were like, oh, wow, let me get up and go today. It was like, I got bills to pay and my kids need to eat this week. So, I got to show up. And that's not how it is with my business now. Now it's my heart is there. It's where I love to be. If they didn't pay me, I would be sad, but I would still love it, because I did it for free for years before I realized how to turn it into a profitable business. Trust me, I was dispensing advice all over the place, helping women. I was showing up at events and I was writing your business plan. You left with a business plan and an outline for your book. I was all over the place until I learned to charge for it. But, these are our gifts, and so if they're your gift and they're your heart, turn it into your business, because it's where you're supposed to be. I remember when my business coach, Stacy, she yelled at me in my first meeting. She laughs at that now because we're the closest of friends, but she don't remember yelling at me. But I promise y'all, I paid her for a coaching session for her to scream at me. And I came home and cried to my husband. And I said, that woman is so mean. I am not ever going back to her again. That was a lie because I was back there the next week. But I was like, I'm not ever dealing with her again. She just yelled at me, and I paid good money for her to yell at me over Mexican food. I'm not dealing with her no more. But I was all over the place. She said, what do you want to do? I had 15 things on my list. I'm going to sell jewelry. I'm going to change the world. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to talk on domestic violence. I'm going to shape women's lives. Maybe I'll go to the nursing home and sit with old people. I had all these things listed. She was like, child, please just list one thing that you would do for free, that you want to do, that is your heart's desire, that you get up in the morning and you say, this is where I want to be. I was like, oh, I write every day. And so she was like, okay, we'll build on that. I had no idea you can make a living writing other people's stories. I was just like, what? You'll pay me to write a story? What are you talking about? I do this stuff for free all day long. I've been writing forever since I was a child. But it was my gift. It's my talent. It's what I was meant to do in this world. It's my contribution. And when, just like with you with numbers, every time I see you, I know you're going to call me on the carpet for my finances. You're going to ask me if I've got my plan together, if I've got my act together. I know. When I follow you, I know I'm going to get good morning, love. What are you doing today? How are you making money today? Are you pushing today, or are you just setting out? I know that's what I'm going to get from you. And that's what we need to know what we're going to give. Because if otherwise, we're just kind of treading water and staying in place. Yes, you'll stay alive. Yes, you'll make a living. But will you flourish? Will you love it? Will it be something that sets your heart on fire every time you do it? Probably not, if you don't find your passion. You can make a lot of money in an MLM and it not be your passion. I know I sold Mary Kay. I'm not a makeup person, and I never once did a facial. But I made good money with Mary Kay because I worked at a truck stop, and I figured out that truckers forget to buy their wives gifts. So every holiday, I made
Right.
gift baskets up with these great cards, and their wives were like, "Oh, he thought about me. Look, it's gift wrapped. It's got a beautiful card with it. Happy anniversary, happy birthday, happy Valentine's Day, happy Christmas, whatever it was." So, but I found that niche and filled it. Was it my passion? Mm-mm. I don't even like to wear makeup myself. So, was it not my passion? Is it my daughter's passion? Oh, yes. Won't walk out of the house without her face done, and will try to fix yours before you leave. That's her passion. She went to school for it. She's great at it. She does wonderful, but it wasn't my heart. And so if you find that thing
Right.
that makes your heart sing, you'll easily walk into your purpose.
Right. And I absolutely love waking up and just kind of scrolling through Facebook and seeing all of y'all, like all of my sisters just doing what they love. And I can tell, like, what the passion is by the way that you guys move and post and stuff on Facebook. And I'm just like, writing, like, I know when I come on there, I'm going to see something from you about writing, telling your story, just something. So, that makes me know, like that's truly her passion. That's where she's supposed to be, and that's how I feel when I wake up. It's like, numbers, literacy, financial literacy, that is my passion. Like, I go to sleep thinking about it. I wake up thinking about it. And I'm ready to post it when, I get up and I start posting. I'm like, I got to find something to give them today, even if it's just something for them to think on. And as I was posting this morning, I was kind of like going through Bible scriptures because I'm in the process of doing a solo project, a solo book, based around the biblical principles of wealth and prosperity. So I was like, you know what, let me throw a few things out here because, I just want people to begin to think. We are supposed to be the lenders, not the borrowers. And if we can't get our finances together, we're not going to be lending anything because we're not going to have anything to lend. So I was sharing that today. And then, I was also sharing about how we're supposed to leave an inheritance for our kids and our kids' kids and, things like that. So I just, I'm like, I'll get up and I'm like, God, okay, give me what you want me to give them, and that's how I post. And I'm like, you know what, somebody's watching me that's not saying anything, that's not liking a status, not commenting on a status or anything, but I'm able to give them just that little bit for them to think on or for them to start moving on, and that's what I love. Like, I just love to see women moving in this literacy direction because we have to, learn this financial literacy, start putting things in place for our children, for our grandkids, for, our generations to come. But we cannot put them into place until we ourselves learn, the literacy part about it. Like,
Right.
how to invest. What am I investing in? What my portfolio is supposed to look like. Where am I lacking right now? And I need to start fixing those things. Is my credit where it needs to be? Do I have the proper life insurance in place? Am I taking, like you said, like, we said earlier, am I taking the proper deductions in my business? It's just so many things that's in that financial realm that, we have to learn. We have to continue to improve on. And that's why, for myself, I'm a firm believer when the Bible says, study to show yourself approved. So, that's what I'm constantly doing, just studying and trying to, understand, get more knowledge based around this financial area, this wealth, this prosperity, because, God already said it's for us. We're supposed to
Yes.
be prosperous. So, in order for me to be the lender, I got to have something stored up. I have to have something. I can't lend you something that I don't have. So I'm very, I've just really started looking at it from a biblical perspective. I can't give, he wants us to be a giver, but what can I give you if I have nothing to give? So that's just been my outtake, my outlook on it. And of course, my outlook has like really changed after my husband passed because in some of the widow groups, I see a lot of people saying I wasn't prepared. Of course they wasn't prepared like for their spouse to leave, but they wasn't prepared financially either. You know, so that's kind of where God is kind of taking me to an area to work with women on making sure that, you know, although you may have a spouse in your home now that takes care of all the bills and make sure there's food, make sure there's everything. What will you do if that spouse passed? What will
Right.
you do if, a divorce is not only just, somebody passing away, but a divorce, so somebody walk away from you. What are we going to do as women? You know, and that's kind of where God is calling my heart now is like, you know, we need to be prepared no matter what your situation is, whether you have a husband that's the breadwinner providing everything. We have to think, what will we do in the event that that person's removed? You know, and I thank God for the knowledge that I've been able to obtain over the years because, you know, when this happened to my family, I wasn't in a terrible position because, you know, my mind had already began to think like, you know, what I need in place. But it's even more now, you know, like, because it's me. It's only me now, you know, and it's not so much of my husband and I, what are we leaving for our 5 children? It's me now. You know, it's like I don't have a choice. I have to make sure that I'm, you know, building up something. I'm building a business, not somebody else's company, because somebody else's company will never be mine. I can never pass that down to my children. So, you know, that's just been my biggest thing since, you know, I had, you know, I faced losing my husband, you know, and losing that income. Now it's just so heavy on me to help women be prepared before something happens. So, you know, that's kind of the direction that I'm shifting to now in business is, you know, I want to work with women now. You know, I don't want you to wait until it happens and then you're coming
Right.
to me, but you're distraught because not only are you in a grieving process, but you don't have anything and you're losing your home, you're losing your car, you're losing everything because you did not adequately prepare financially. So, you know, and I guess that's the season God has me walking in now. Um, you know, and I think because my love and my passion for numbers and finance and literacy, is really helping me to work through the grieving process by me being able to use what I've learned through this process to help other women. So I'm excited about this journey that he's got me on now. But I just really want to be able to reach more women. Like, you know, I just want women to start preparing now from a young age. You know, I'm also teaching my daughters, as I've always taught them, but I'm teaching them even more now of how to make sure your finances in order. What do you need in your financial portfolio? How to build a business, a sustainable business that's profitable. You know, how to allocate your funds out of your business, you know, how to separate that out from your personal, you know, things and
Right.
making sure they're sufficient by themselves. So um, that's kind of where I'm at now, you know, just trying to reach as many as I can with this literacy because we need it, you know, and sometimes we don't realize until something happens that, wait a minute, I wasn't as prepared as I need to be. I thought I was, but I'm not. So, you know,
Right.
that's kind of where I'm at with teaching.
And that's kind of, you know, when my father died, he didn't leave a legacy. He left funeral bill. And my sister did not step up. And so I paid for the funeral. And I remember thinking, this man was a veteran. You know, he worked all these years. How can he not own anything at this age? How can he not have anything that's paid for that I could sell and pay this funeral off? You know, nothing. He left me bills. And I thought to myself, there is no way I'm going to leave that for my girls to deal with. And then when I got divorced, my ex was a little out there. And so I walked away with nearly nothing, just the half of our property, half of our land. The judge allocated to me. It took 4 years to get it sold because every time someone showed up, my ex would show up crazy. But when I finally got it sold, I remember when I invested that money, when I remarried this time, I told my husband, because I was already remarried by the time that property finally sold. And I told my husband, I don't want to be in debt. Because I looked at my mom in her 60s. Her house is not paid for. Her vehicles are not paid for. And she has funeral arrangements now because I was like adamant after my father died. Because my mom is married to my stepdad, and I was like, look, no, I can't afford to bury y'all too. So we're going to have to get something in place for this to happen, some kind of insurance, a burial plan. Even if I have to make the payments on it every month, I'd rather do that than, be stuck with that bill at the end of the day. But I didn't want to be in those shoes. So I was very strategic when I started my business. When we bought our home here, we sold the house that my husband owned and then pooled it with the money that I had, and we paid cash, and so I was very strategic to stay out of debt because I'm almost 50. And so I didn't want to, and my husband is 62. So he is retired with Social Security now. And so I didn't want to be those people that I was going to have to work till I was 80 just to pay off the place I'm living at, just to pay off the car I'm driving. And I wanted to be able to invest that money into other things, into my own life insurance, into my own retirement funds, into property that I can leave my children that is actually deeded property and not, the name brand person shoes I'm wearing. Things that I could leave them that would be a legacy for them, college funds for my grandkids, things that will feed into the next generation, will seed into the next generation, and actually teach them, because as I told my mom, we never talked finances. I mean, my mother is in her 60s and she's still robbing Peter to pay Paul. That's just her lifestyle. No matter how much money they made, no matter, because they had great jobs. I mean, my stepdad is an engineer, so we're talking hundreds of thousands a year. Yet still, as the income increased, so did the lifestyle. Every time we made a new rung, we bought a new outfit, we bought a new car, we got a new this, we got a new that, and I was determined that that wasn't going to be me because that wasn't important to me. And I wanted to make sure that I left this world on solid ground for my grandkids, because I knew that my ex was not going to, pay it forward into my children's lives, pay it forward into my grandchildren's life. So it's on me to do that as their grandmother, to be that person who breaks that generational curse of poverty, working for somebody for a paycheck, because sooner or later the paycheck ends. So if you own your own company, if you own your own business, then you hold the keys to your finances. You hold how much you can make is up to you. You're not limited by the number of hours you work or your clock in, clock out time, and that was important to me. And I think every woman has that thing that's important to her. And so when we find that, it's very important that we share that with others. And financial literacy is a key to a lot of things with the next generation. We look at our country and look at the women, the single mothers who are in poverty. My daughter has 4 children on a single income. I couldn't imagine doing it myself. But she has 4 children, and she has to be very creative because, if she worked for someone else, she would have to do daycare. She would have to put them, somewhere so that she could go clock in and out. So she put herself to school and learned, a skill so that she could do her own thing. And I think it's very important that we encourage women to know what your finances are, know what those things are, because the fact of the matter is you're probably going to outlive your mate. And tragedy may take them, divorce may take them, you don't know what's coming. And you have to be prepared to take care of you and your children. Because statistics show, when a man walks away sometimes he walks away from that financial responsibility too, but the woman always has it. They're always your children. They're always your responsibility. And that's just a fact. I'm not man bashing. I'm not saying there's a lot of fathers that step up, but there's a lot who don't. And our single mothers on welfare, our single mothers in poverty prove that fact. I mean, it's a statistic. It's not I'm just saying it out here. It's the truth. And so we have to be able to take care of our own, and we have to be able to teach them to take care of their own. That's why young girls, it's so important that we teach them business and entrepreneurship. I remember when I was in school, the only thing they taught was homemaking. I could take homemaking and I could take typing. I still can't cook, but and I dang sure can't sew. But I think I was 25 when my grandpa finally taught me to cook because he got tired of me burning stuff. But I mean, there was no business class for me. There was no entrepreneurship 101, how to do your finances, personal finance. There was none of that till I got to college. There was none of that in high school, middle school. There was no teaching you how to run your household, how to run your business, how to know what you had coming in and going out. Because not only if you're an entrepreneur, that is important for you in your personal finances. If you make X amount of money a month and your bills are Y amount of money a month, you have to know what's left over to invest. And that money left over is not the go buy a new pair of shoes money. You know, you have to be investing in your future. You have to make sure you have your life insurance in place. You have enough insurance on your house, your vehicle. These things are important. And if you don't know, then you don't know. I mean, that's why it's important to be literate about this and to seek out knowledge, because we're not taught it in school. It's not a class that you take in high school. I mean, my kids come out and they don't even know. They're like, I'll get a loan to go to college.
Right.
What are you going to do when you get out of college? Oh, I don't know. I'm going to get a job and pay back the loan. I mean, how can that be feasible? That does not make sense to me.
No. And we're not taught it in school, and a majority of us we're not taught about our finances at home. So, it's very important to us now, now that we understand the things that we have not been taught, for us to make sure that, our kids don't say the same thing in years to come. That's why that's why I love being able to homeschool, because I can incorporate that. I can incorporate business class, entrepreneurship, finances. I can incorporate all that. Some of my kids are still little, but they can tell you, like, that's not a good option. You shouldn't spend this money. You should take this much money out and save it, because they've all been taught, how to, they all have bank accounts. They all have savings account. AJ has just, she's old enough now that she has a checkings account, and, and I'm very proud of her, because I don't have to stay on her back saying, don't overdraft your account. She knows, check it, make sure when I do something, when she does something in business, she knows, I have a 33 rule over here. Like, 33 goes back into the business, 33 goes into your savings account, and then you have your 33 is your profit, is what you can spend for whatever you want to do. And I don't have to keep saying that, because that's something that I have taught. That's something that I have instilled in them. So every time they do something in business, they already know, 33, 33, 33. And then, of course, you got that 1% still left over to kind of do something with, decide which way you want to put it. But, that's just my rule of thumb of teaching them, because one thing I do know, like the Bible tells us, train up a child in the way that they should go, and that's been my motto. If I teach you some of my teachings, you're going to remember, whether you want to remember it or not when you get old, so that's that, now that we know better, we have to do better. We may have not been taught it by our families, by our school, but now that we know, we're obligated to teach our children moving further. And that's how I feel about it. I didn't get it, but now that I know it, I'm obligated to teach my children.
Right.
Literacy, and about their finances, and how to manage a bank account, and, how to manage if you're writing checks. Don't get into this credit card debt. Don't get into this student loan debt. There's ways. What about all the scholarships? Have you looked into them? If you're eligible for grant money, utilize your grant money and your scholarship monies before you move into wanting to get a loan, because, and I speak to them from a place that I was myself, coming out of high school. I went to college on full scholarship, but I still took loan money. And then, as an adult, I got faced with the fact of, okay, you got to pay this $10,000, $20,000 back, And then now I think to myself, I shouldn't have never even took that, because I didn't even need that, So that's one of the things that I'm teaching AJ as she's preparing to go to college next year, is what you don't need, do not take.
Right.
You know, and there's ways to manage your finances to where you can cover the things that you need without having to take loans, especially if you got scholarships or you know, full scholarships to school. You don't need to take all that additional stuff, and then when you're out of college, you know, you got 20,000, 30,000. I've even heard people say they have as much as 70, 80,000,
I
you
know.
know, to pay back
You work the
in
next
student
20, 30
loans.
years to pay the loan back.
Right. You know, so that's, you know, that's one thing for us that we're working with. And also, and actually AJ had brought the idea to me about her owning, I mean, buying her house by the time she's 18, between 18 and 21, so that it could be paid off a lot faster. So, you know, I was talking with her about compounding the payments and, you know, to lessen the time and stuff like that. We just had that conversation yesterday, as we were homeschooling. So, you know, I'm just kind of happy and grateful to God that she's thinking in that direction, you know, already, because, you know, she'll be young going to college, but, you know, at least she's thinking ahead for the future. Like, you know, I don't want a $30 house, a 30-year house loan.
Right.
Can I compress that to 15 years or compress it to 10? You know, so those are the things that, you know, we're working, you know, and I like to tell them, when you know better, you do better. You know, so now that we know better, even though we wasn't trained by our families, you know, on finances, we know better now. So now that we know better, it's time for us to do better and show our kids, you know, the things and the lessons that we have learned about investing and finances and, you know, saving and, you know, things like that. So, and, you know, I think that's just very important. Now that you know it, you got to teach it, you know, so.
Right. So tell all of our listeners how they can reach out to you, how they can follow you on Facebook, on all of your social media platforms.
Okay, so you can, of course, you can contact me on Facebook by Jessica Money Midwife Bellard. That's Bellard. I'm also on Facebook. I have a business page, Miss Financially Savvy. And I also have Instagram. Instagram is at Financially Savvy Queen, which is another program that I have that, you know, I teach women how to create, invest, and save money. So you can find me there. You can inbox me there. You can also email me at I am J Bellard, Bellard @gmail.com. Or you can also reach out to me through our business phone line at 678-789-8021, and we can help you with all your financial needs.
Thank you so much for being on the show. As always, you are always a wealth of information, tips, and really just what we need to do financially to keep our house in order. Thank you so much for being here. Thank y'all for listening to Words Have Power. Once again, we're so excited for this September summit. These women have been phenomenal. And if you want to subscribe to us, you know, there's a button at the top of the iTunes, so just click on it. And this is Teresa Hawley-Howard. Remember, words have power. Use them to change your life.